Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, going over the trade review for ES and a little bit of NQ for Friday, August 30th, 2013. And I think I want the highlight of today's review and mini coaching session to kind of be on the good decisions I made and focusing on the poor decisions I made. And I want to focus out of the gate on the best trading decision I made for the day. Before I do that, this is for educational purposes only. Nothing in the video, on my blog, or in my tweets should be taken as trading recommendations. Trading futures is dangerous. You can lose your entire investment. You should consult a trading professional or investment professional prior to deciding whether futures is right for you or not. So let's go ahead and take a look at the open on Friday. And to do that, I'm going to take a look here at a 5-minute chart. And a couple of my clients were taken back when I had mentioned via Twitter that I was getting out of the trade. And basically, if we looked at the overnight, we had a range between 1636.25 and 1643.75, and we kind of balanced between these two areas all night. And so my anticipation, what I was thinking off the open, was that we would test Globex low, and then we would rotate from Globex low or close to Globex low, and my guess was we were going to test Globex high somewhere in here before resolving what to do with the day. Now, my other thesis on the day would have been that we were going to come down and test initial support, which we did, possibly break it and shake everyone out down to 1620, 1618, and then come back up and close within the range from Thursday. So we didn't do either one. And so my trade out of the open, if you look, there was a couple characteristics. Let's go to a 1-minute chart here real quick and take a look. So I got long at the top of this zone. I might have should have waited till we came closer to gap fill, but I took the front of the zone. And I'm sitting there thinking, or just below the top of the zone, and I'm sitting there watching. And so when we're watching, okay, so trading is, for the most part, putting pieces of a puzzle together so that, and as you're putting that puzzle together, it's evolving. And the zones are not a automatic trade. They are and they aren't. The market doesn't have to follow the rules. There's nothing magical about the zones themselves. They simply give me an edge of where I think responsive buyers will come in, even if it's for a quick 2 points. That's what the zones do for me, okay? And I know that I have a very high odds of hitting the trades in that zone and making money. So when we open up above the white zone, I anticipate that when we come into that white zone, we're going to come up and we are going to reject out of here for at least 2 points. That's my anticipation. Now, it's August, volume's thin. It's been a damn hard month. I can't tell you how proud I am that not only personally am I very profitable, but many of my coaching clients are hitting all-time highs in their account. And this has been one tough month to stay consistent. Let me tell you, a lot of traders are hurting this month. So in the idea of solving this problem here of what's going on this morning, I mentioned a couple of things. So I want to take a quick look at what happened yesterday. Again, these are today's zones, so the zones themselves don't matter, but the quality of the open does. And if we look, we came in to the open and immediately got buyers. It rejected down just slightly and then reversed back up and took off like a rocket ship, okay? The other thing I'm looking at is the quality of the tick. The tick opened very negative and almost immediately climbed to zero and stayed relatively positive all morning. By the time we had gotten to roughly the first half hour, we were already trading in positive territory, trending up. Let's take a look at that same quality on a 1-minute chart from this morning. So we opened down, tick was relatively neutral, and started setting new lows rather quickly. Okay, so that was my first concern. I figured once we got through news that news might pop us up back into the range, but instead we were testing the bottom of this range from yesterday's close. And even assuming that I got the white zone wrong, right? That perhaps we would still reverse within, a reasonable stop behind this zone and get a reversal back up. When I see that we're approaching 9 o'clock and we're getting back to the top of the white zone, which is exactly what we were doing, and look at the tick, just the tick never gets positive. It's zero all the way in here. That's enough for me to say the trade hasn't worked. In addition, when I look back at if you go back and look at the charts over time, the rejection out of the white zone tends to be relatively quick. It's rare that we open in the white zone and just sit there. We may flush quickly, or we'll go in, dip, stay in maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. But I'm generally out of these trades within 10 minutes with 2 points, or I have a scale within 2 points. One of the two. And so keeping in mind that my greatest gift, the thing that makes me the most amount of money is that I cut my losers quickly. And that's just with my standard stop. That's with me doing nothing, because most times I want to make as few decisions as possible. But when I see this time element, I see the way the tick is reading, where it's basically baselining at 0. I'm not getting any snap out of the white zone, none. Okay, I'm having trouble just getting back up to where my entry was. That's when it's time for me to cut my losses. And so many of the guys I coach come in the middle of these zones, and we're actually able to get out either break even or slightly profitable. But the bottom line was, whether I lost money or whether I made money, it was time to go on this trade. And just saying, well, these are my rules, or I'm not a mechanical trader. What I am is a trader with very good boundaries, and I know how to protect myself on down days so that I can take full advantage of profitable days. The next thing that you'll notice in my trading, again, my number one philosophy during the course of the day is always, don't lose any more money than you have to. Don't lose any money that'll put me in an uncomfortable position psychologically. I guess the third one would be, you don't have to take a trade after something's gone wrong. And a lot of times when a trade's gone wrong like this, I'll know that my anxiety levels will be a little bit higher. And that because of that I'm hesitant to take the next zone. I want to watch the action for a little bit. And now maybe I should or shouldn't, but history tells me that what I want to avoid when I was not as good a trader, let's put it that way, and my drawdowns would be more significant, was that I wanted to make up for what I missed. I'd punish myself. And even today I would have said, well, maybe I should have flipped short, right? But what I don't want to do is, if I'm in a mode of, you should have gotten it, I'm letting my ego get involved in the trade, or I have some kind of attachment to the trade, which becomes harder because I know my coaching clients are watching what I'm doing, and I have everyone does. We have an attachment to wanting to be right. So for me to step back for a second is protecting myself, it's protecting my equity, and it's protecting everything that it allows me to do. One of which is great. It was, I don't have to have a job. I don't work for anybody besides myself. And I love that. That's one of the best features of my life. And to hold myself in restraint to protect that occasionally, I'm willing to do. So I skipped this trade even though it was a perfectly fine trade. Rotation for 2 points, no problem. Made money there. Coming into the middle of this day, so when I'm looking, and let's go back to a 5-minute. The other thing I wanted to show you really quickly, and I'm working on resolving, for my coaching clients, resolving that morning trade review, and I haven't figured out how to get it out and get the most important information to my clients recorded, and we may have to just go to a live feed where I can communicate those ideas. But as we look here, look at the NQ from yesterday. Snaps into, it came in to test prior day's gap close, and it was a rocket ship. I mean, check that out. There's one small red bar in here. Look at NQ on Friday morning. Red bar, red bar, red bar. Tombstone Doji. One green bar here. It was a total opposite of the prior day. That's telling me something's different here, and I'm gonna take those clues, and the reason why I'm able to do that is because I know once I've entered the trade, which I had at this point, I know even if I totally screwed it up, that my worst loss on this trade is going to be 4 points, which I can totally live with. Okay, that allows me to stop worrying about whether I'm going to make money or not, and instead focus on what does this trade look like? Does it make sense still? What's the unspoken communication that the market's given to me? And if I'm constantly worried about getting tagged out, then I'm going to miss the amount of time that we were in this trade, and I'm going to miss the price action information. And instead, I'm going to be defending the position that I'm looking at. And so it's very important in my book to have a predefined stop loss, not to be worried about it, and then take the information the market's given you. And if you need to cut that trade out early, on occasion. Now, if you're cutting trades out often and constantly moving your stop, you're screwing yourself. That's all there is to it. You're never going to get your pops. You're never going to get that consistency that you need. But on occasion, and I think this is the first time I've moved a stop, and God, it's probably been over 3 months since I last moved the stop. So I kind of want to move through that. That was the gist of what I wanted to get. That was my best trade of the day. I did not take on the middle of the day. I did not take this trade, and it was right into initial support. Should I? Should I not? Okay, so news was pending. John Kerry was making his speech, and I do not know what's going to happen at initial support. Now, I had another trade in another market that I won't discuss, and I took a flyer on it, which means I had very few contracts relative to what I normally trade. ES is my primary moneymaker, and the actual result of that was I got smoked. I misread the market, and I got totally killed for that trade. However, its relative dent on my day as a whole was relatively small. And then the other part of that was that I was still okay because I had no emotional attachment to the trade in the other market, and I was still able to come in and kind of look at what the market was doing. What I noticed from the price action here is when we came back up to the zone above, if this was really fantastic news, we should have just rocket shipped up as we did the prior day, right? But no one really kind of grabbed for it here. We just kind of got stuck at this, what I call price structure here, kind of held the market all day. So when we came back up and we were unable to break these highs, even though we were above this zone, it was an alternative trade. It was in the last half of the day, but it really felt like they were going to make a reach here. So I took half my normal size, and I took a trade here. And I very rarely take a trade in the last hour, as most people who follow me know. But here's one critical thing that I did do really well with this trade, was that as this came down, I started to scale. Now, I didn't take my normal 2 points, but I did take 4 points. And then my idea was I thought, we could get some big pressure at the end of the day and push down to the 1620. That's what I was thinking with the market uncertainty. However, that is not what happened. We had this huge reversal in one stick right near. This is the last 5 minutes of the market. This is the last 15 after. And when we pushed back up, all I did was simply move the second half. Was I disappointed? Yeah, I would have rather, in hindsight, should have I just taken the whole thing right here? Sure. However, I managed the position well. I got half my profits. It turned me from slightly down on the day to profitable on the day, and I still made a point on the second half. So that's okay. That's another well-managed trade. What I did miss, however, that I should have paid attention to is at the very end of the day, and maybe I was just tired, distracted, maybe I was just hoping against hope. Who knows? There's a lot of things, but look at the tick divergence going on here for the last 15 minutes of the market. This whole move down into initial support, the entire move down, was on tick divergence, and I missed that. That's something I need to be more cognizant of, and I will look to improve that next week. So I hope that helped. There's areas I'm still looking for improvement on, but the number one thing that keeps me in this game and lets me make money and keep my consistency level as high as possible is that I don't do things that cause me to distrust myself. I take my time. I pick my spots carefully. I accept that my loss is my loss. The price for entering the trade is my stop. Now, if I get additional information through the course of trading that tells me other information, that my trade's not valid, then I take the trade out early. Anyways, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. I certainly hope that helped. I hope everyone banked on Friday and that you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.